Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a real character with me today. Well, he was there. Now, Mac, Mac? What are you doing, buddy? Mac James is with me
It
from
asked me to
Florida.
talk
I
about.
believe. Mac, how are you?
I'm great. How are you
Are
doing,
you
Scott?
here? Are you sure you're here now? Are you? All right, good. Hey,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got a is that a Slayer shirt on?
Yep. One
Yeah, rock
of
stuff.
my faves.
Slayer, okay. Well,
You
now
like
let's
them?
get started, Mac. You're in Florida, right?
St. Petersburg, baby.
St. Petersburg, Florida. Were you born and raised in Florida?
No, I was born in Chicago.
Okay.
And, I was born on the streets. I'm from the streets. I was born on the streets. Technically, I was born on a playground on the streets. I was a seesaw section baby. My parents were swingers, Scott.
It
Here's
was-
a fun thing though, too, Scott. My balls are from the streets. These ones, you see them? Not my balls, these balls. You're probably wondering right now what street this jerk's balls are from, right?
I'm, I'm
It's actually cul-de-sac.
called a sack.
I
Okay.
dropped my hey, I dropped my title belt.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
real. It's a
Okay.
toy.
All right. Stop. Stop. We just started, for God's sakes. Man,
Sorry.
take it easy.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago
Mac,
and I grew up in
Mac,
Grand
Mac,
Rapids,
Mac,
Michigan.
Mac, or Mac, maybe decaffeinated, brother. Listen,
Uh,
when did you start doing comedy?
8 years ago, I got on stage
Okay.
for the first time. I've
And
been a bartender for 24 years now.
yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. But let
Okay.
me ask you, when you started, was there a catalyst? Was there something that said, Matt, go do comedy?
Yeah, I was writing comedy before that.
Okay.
But my brother used to bartend too, and he did magic tricks for his guests. And he said,
Okay.
find a goofy niche like that. And he's a pretty smart guy. So I started writing material and then telling it to people, and it was working. And this guy, Nature Boy Ric Flair, used to sit at my bar, and he said, he made me promise to get on stage to get him to sign that thing, actually. Which,
Okay.
well, he got me real drunk all the time at work. So
Yeah. Well, I
that's
was
why I
thinking
kind
about that because, and you did jump ahead here,
of,
but you on Facebook, you're known as America's funniest bartender.
yeah, he dubbed me that
Yeah.
with a chest slap.
Well, I actually thought, man, you and I would get along great
I think so.
because I love to drink and I love comedy.
Oh, you would have fun at my bar. I bartended Dave and Buster's, and I
Yeah.
bartended and at Clearwater Comedy Club. I bartended there too.
Okay. Well, let's keep going because you got a lot of stuff. You've done a lot of stuff and you continue to do a lot of stuff. You have a radio show slash podcast called Stand Up for News,
Definitely
which
two and
I
a half
think is
years.
which I think is great, Mac. I think it's wonderful.
We've been at it 2.5 years now,
Yeah.
and we were offered a radio show, and we said okay. We'd never done it before, and me and a couple other comics, we were coming up with ideas, and then we said let's tell the news and make fun of it and give us something to write about. Writing. Basically, it's a writing workshop style project for us. And we'd invite other comedians, local and national, to come on, and if they wanted to write something about the news. If they didn't, then it's a writing exercise is what it started out with. And then 2.5 years later, we interviewed Tommy Chong a bunch of times and a bunch of other touring comics and
Okay.
locals.
Well, what I loved about it, now I just got to see a couple of them, but I did a lot of YouTube lives and it was under that same premise that like you did one with Roseanne Barr about that
Mm-hmm.
she's a psychic,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
What I used to do, and that's why I think I liked it so much or like it so much, is because the news, there's stuff every day. Like
definitely.
I'll give you one that I just saw yesterday that I thought, oh man, there's a bit there. That new movie that's coming out, Wicked.
Okay,
Okay, did you hear about this? They
I heard
released a
about the movie.
batch of the Wicked like toys for kids, and the link on the back of the packaging takes the kids to a porn website.
I think I heard something about that.
Yeah,
We've been
it's
we quit the radio airwaves for about 2 months ago because we're going to go on a different station. So we haven't been writing. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I just I in other words, every day All you got to do is go to the New York Post and you'll see somebody shot somebody because they didn't get enough barbecue sauce or went through a Sonic drive-through and they didn't get onion rings or something. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they were wrong because it is definitely wicked to go onto a porn site, right? It's not like you're doing a nice, good thing.
Mommy, look what I found.
You wicked little
Study on
boy.
the study on the single piston engine.
I like
You
the
also
good wit, mommy.
you also have it ties in with your stand up for comedy or stand up for news. You have stand up for live shows that you do.
Yeah, I did up until the hurricanes. We were doing that for the past 2.5 years, but I've been hosting shows for about 5 years or 6 years of the 8 years I've been doing it now. I do them
Okay,
different open
and
mics and
that
showcases.
gets to one of the questions I had. So besides doing stand up, you promote and do what do they call it? That you put on shows.
Producing some shows. Yep.
Yeah.
We produced
What
the
do you
last one
enjoy
we did
doing
was
more,
called the
Mac?
Orlando Invasion.
Orlando Invasion. What do you enjoy doing more? Do you enjoy doing the stand up more or putting on shows?
I definitely don't enjoy producing shows.
Oh,
I don't
really?
like any of it. I just like doing the stand-up part. Yeah.
Okay. What is it?
People
Just
ask me
because of
like,
the egos of the comedians or the club owners or all of it?
usually it's a lot of work, and I have a full-time job. See, where I bartend at the last two places I've worked at, Dave and Buster's and at the Holiday Inn Aviators Tavern by the airport, they asked me to do shows there. So usually I'm producing a show while I'm working at those last two locations I've done. But then I have a team, so I have a team of stand up for news crew. They do them while I'm at my work.
Hmm.
So since the hurricane, we haven't done any, but I prefer not having to worry about that stuff as much. We did it for sponsorship for the radio show mostly.
Okay.
It's a lot of work. So it's getting on stage and writing stuff to get on stage is not work anymore like it used to be. It's just fun now.
Okay. Comedians that inspired you and comedians that you like, today.
Today I like Michael Blaustein. You know that kid?
No, but any of
Oh,
them that
he's
you want to try and help me get on the show, I'll get them on the show.
that guy's hilarious. He's a touring comic. I don't know him personally, but I think he's my favorite right now. Or
Okay.
what's his name? Mark Norman. I really like him. My favorite of all time is Norm Macdonald. I
Right.
grew up, and when I first saw him, I said, I want to do that someday. I was 12 years old.
Okay.
He was on Dangerfield's HBO special.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dice Clay was on it and some other comics. But he was my favorite ever since then. And before
Okay.
that, Dangerfield was my favorite comedian when I was real little.
I met Rodney.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be a
you have to
dream.
check. I won't go into the details. You have to check out the story. I met him and he asked me if I had any weed.
You have any weed?
I
Are we
did
allowed to
have
smoke
weed.
weed on your show?
No, I did, and I do smoke weed. This isn't
Can we
about
smoke it
me,
on your
but
show?
no, look, uh, he wouldn't take a picture. Again, you can go to my YouTube page and you can see the whole story. Yeah, I met a lot of different comedians, but so Norm Macdonald, did you ever get to see Norm's before he passed the live show he used to do? I forget if it was on Netflix or where it was.
Oh,
Did you ever?
Hitler's dog?
He had a soda machine. He had Letterman on one time. I just loved it.
Oh, yeah. I've watched that several times.
Yeah, I've watched a batch of that. I love Norm Macdonald.
Some of
Um,
his stuff, if you see Stand Up for News, you can see me inspired directly by that show, particularly how I make my crew sing a stupid song at the beginning and the end of my show.
oh, cool.
Stand Up for News. And we don't tell the guests the lyrics of the song. So I got to make, you sing with us. And then they're like just babbling nonsense while they're,
Oh
and
man, you're a funny
watch
guy.
that
You're
Norm show. A
crazy.
lot of people don't, they don't sing with them. They don't get up and dance with them.
Oh yeah, I love your energy, brother. I think now again, my crack staff puts this shit together. One of your favorite shows is what is it called? Curse of Oak Island. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Have you watched it?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, it's basically based about the buried treasure on Oak Island in Nova Scotia, Canada. It was
Okay.
left there by the Knights Templar after, Friday the 13th, all the Templars got killed. Some escaped with all the treasures, and they brought it over here to the New World, and they buried it in Nova Scotia on Oak Island. It's booby trapped, and many people have died and even all the lores that they say about it, people have to die before they find the treasure that's been buried there. So they're getting really, really close in the money pit to finding it. I want to make a reality show kind of like that too, though, because it's my favorite. Mine's going to be a little different. It's going to be called The Curse of Joke Island. Yeah, basically, you're out trapped on an island with me until you kill yourself. Oh, here's my joke of the day whistle.
I couldn't hear it. It
Oh,
didn't
sorry.
work. It still doesn't work. No, I like those. I've seen those before. Doesn't
No
work.
one's lasted very long, by the way. We filmed 3 seasons in one day, man.
Um, I
Bloodbath.
wrote this down because I thought it was funny, and there's a
Mhm.
lot there. Um, on Facebook, you say you're a comedian, a bartender, an astronaut from the planet Uranus.
Yeah, I inhabit Uranus. It's a good time.
Well, but the astronaut part, there's more to that, isn't there?
Yeah, because I start the bit out by going, this is my last day. Anyway, when I'm at work, I use this bit every day. And a guest will be like, don't say that. You're not quitting, are you? I'm like, no, no, I mean, it's my last day on Earth, planet
Okay,
Earth. And then they'll be like, oh, don't say that. That's crazy. I'm like, no, no, I'm a bartender astronaut. I
right.
joined the Space Force. Trump started Space Force. I joined Space Force and I was
Yeah,
at
right.
space camp. So I became the admiral of my own star fleet and everything. They say I might be able to be the first man ever to inhabit Uranus. That's how the big goes. So
You
this is
you would
really
be the
funny.
first
So I
man to
want
inhabit my anus. I guarantee it.
to
I
tell.
don't go for that shit.
So my boy, my
Shipping,
son,
no
he was in this
receiving.
like, my son was in the special need, or not, sorry, special needs. He was in the advanced computer technology course from 6th grade to 12th grade when he graduated.
Right,
The same as this little girl Apple that was friends with him. They grew up together in the magnet program, and then she went to University of Florida, right? And her
right.
mom works at the Speedway right by my house. Don't forget, if you're in St. Pete, go to Speedway and check it out. Great spot. That's where I get my big gulp Slurpees, pitching Speedway. Say hi to Lisbo. Her name's Liz. She likes to go by Lisbo. So then Waz like, oh, how's your son doing? I'm like, oh, he's good. He's working at Publix. Oh, my daughter Apple, she's got a full scholarship up there at University of Florida. But she'd already told me the story. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it's like every time I walked in there, every week when I'd see her, same thing. How's your son? He's going to college yet? I'm like, no, he's working at Publix. And she's like, oh, my daughter got full scholarship, second year now over at Florida University of Florida for computer technology. She's gonna be a surgeon and this and that. I'm like, oh, cool. It's great. Wow, you already told me that. So next time I go in there, she's like, how's your son? How's he doing? And I'm like, oh, he just joined Space Force. And I told her that whole bit I just told you about that, right?
Right.
But my son, I was walking up there with my son. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, hey James, little James Paul, JP. I was like, hey man, I forgot to tell you this thing I told Walk because she kept bugging me about what you've been doing. He's gonna go to college sooner or later. I told him there's no rush.
Right.
He's only 20. If he wants, he can go. If he don't, who cares? Work at Publix. But I was like, this is what I told Wah. And he was like, oh, all right. And when she gets there, she's like, oh, hi, James Paul. You're so tall now. Oh my gosh, are you in school yet? He's like, no, no, I joined Space Force. Proceeds to tell her the entire bit. And as he's getting to the end, I'm like, don't tell it. But he's got ADHD. He's like, quit hitting me, Dad. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be the first man ever to inhabit Uranus, he tells her.
Oh no.
Was this little tiny Asian woman. So it was really funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me move on. Do you have a favorite show? Well, it's been 8 years or so you've been doing comedy. And then the follow up question is a least favorite show.
My TV show?
No, no, no. What are you?
Oh, like did I've
Oh, did you
done?
take a foul tip as a youngster?
Look, man.
What
Oh, did I
happened to
tell
you?
you that
What
joke?
happened to you?
You just said the
You're
punchline. I better
sharp as
not
a
tell
bowling ball, son. You're sharp as a bowling ball.
you.
Shows that you have done, favorite show that you have done, and then a least favorite show. And you can even include ones that you promoted or that you did and just in other words, favorite show, that you're happy that everything went well, and then the other one would be a shit show.
Oh, let's see. Favorite show I've performed on. The best show I felt it was my most favorite. I got to open for Bob Levy once. That was awesome.
Okay.
I killed it, but that wasn't my favorite show. I've got to talk to like Tommy Chong a bunch of times in my interviews, but that
Okay.
wasn't my favorite. It was not this year, but last year's Orlando Invasion. That was probably the best show I had. I think it was the most fun performing and producing at the same time. It was an open mic crawl, and we invite a bunch of comedians from Orlando to come and face off against all the Tampa comics. So we had a started it up in Clearwater, and then it went to Gulfport to another spot in Gulfport, and then finished at St. Pete Beach at Tiki Tavern, or sorry, Twisted Tiki. And it was like 48 comics plus all the hosts and myself. So everybody, we rotated. We had it. I had it like, okay, they carpooled, so we had one mic start a half hour from the next, from the next. So by the time they got to the next one, they're gone. The next batch comes. No one's really waiting around a long time. We send the carpoolers up on stage in the groups that they're in, you know. And then we put up 5 Tampa comics, send them all to the next one.
Okay.
So that was pretty awesome. Everybody loved it. That's probably like something that marked my name permanently in the Tampa Bay comedy community, if you ask me.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
most proud of. But the
Now,
most fun, the worst one, I don't know. Okay, I was like drunk and I shouldn't have gone on stage. And before I went on stage, I told the owner of this club, I was like, "Hey, I wanted to talk to you about performing." He's like, "Oh yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you about that too." I'm like, "All right." But then I started getting more drunk,
oh
and
no.
I don't really drink anymore. But at that time, I did. And Venom takes over, and it's like I'm Peter Parker. But when I started drinking, alcohol is Venom, you know. And all of a sudden, Venom's it's we are Venom to I am Venom. You know what I mean? Once you have enough drinks, and I am Venom decides to say and do things that I wouldn't normally say or do. So I go up on stage and I'm drunk and I kill it, but I feel like they only laughed at me because I was drunk. And when I got off stage, it's another comic that he's been on like MTV and stuff. His name's John Jacobs. He's like, "Dude, why are you so upset? You killed it." I'm like, "Yeah, but they were just laughing because I was drunk." And, you know, being funny when you're drunk, even though the material's there too, I didn't tell the material the way I wanted it to. And so I was upset. And then I go out there and the owner's like, "Hey, you want to talk?" And I was so drunk. I'm like, "I'll talk later." I was too drunk to even speak to him, and I blew an opportunity to work for him. I think. I don't know. I never went back to. Well, I've been back there, but I never really brought it back up to his attention. If he wants me to perform, though, he'll hit me up, you know. But I've
Okay.
turned shows down for his other room because I work the nights and bartend the nights that they asked me in a lot of places, a lot of clubs around Tampa Bay. I work, and then other private shows and bar shows. I work the nights they want to book me. They're not going to give me enough money. They're not going to give me like 300-400 bucks to take that night off from a Friday or
Okay.
Saturday. You know, when they got like Mike Tyson will be fighting this weekend. You know, I'm not going to take that night off. They're not going to offer me enough money to open or headline for it.
Okay.
That's
Well,
my bartender's
I just picked
downfall.
up. I just picked up, and I imagine it's difficult that you said you don't drink anymore.
I don't drink any less either, but when I do
Yeah.
drink, I stopped drinking July 5th 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then about a year and a half later, I started drinking again, but just to support the bars I was at when I was doing these shows. But I only have like 1 or 2 drinks. I haven't seen Venom in like 3 years, almost.
Well,
But I have a drink once in a while. But I have an ulcer now, so I haven't drank in a long
okay.
time.
Well, no, because I was thinking about America's Funniest Bartender, and I started thinking about boy, that'd be like whenever I go to the liquor store, I tell them I couldn't work here because I'd be taking my work home with me.
Right?
You know,
I
I imagine being a bartender and not drinking. That's got to be a little tough.
If the bar I worked at would let us drink, I would take it home in my belly with me. Yeah,
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
thought you
was
meant stealing liquor. I've seen people do that too.
Yeah, no, like I said, I spent my share of time in bars, and I've got to be friends with a lot of bartenders, and they could really pull some magic for you.
Oh, I got some magic tricks, bar tricks too, but not
Well,
like my
no,
brother.
what I mean is that you drink all night. At the end of the night, they hand you a tab for $20, and you're like, holy shit.
I got you there, yeah. We have
But
the comp tab. So people we like, we put them on comp tab. It's like every bartender gets a few drinks on their comp tab. Some don't use them, and we just add to that, you know?
okay, that's
Depends.
cool.
Great
I
guest
saw.
comp tab, you know?
I wanted to touch on because again, I watched a lot of your material, and you are funny as heck. I love your stuff.
I
But
appreciate
one
that.
thing that I thought was really cool, and I don't know if you still do it, this might have been older. But you went up and you had a book, and it had like what 200. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I was gonna let you pick a number. That was
Okay,
when
well,
you asked
well,
me to
now
do a
hang on,
minute
hang on. Why
ago.
don't we? Why don't first off tell the people about the book?
This book has all my material in it. I numbered it from the beginning of my career to up till now, which it's missing quite a bit because this is book one. This is not the stand for news material. This is material I wrote without any influence about for the radio. I never intended to use any of this for the radio. I have stuff that's for the radio, like, but it's not really prepared, But that's like my note cards that I,
Right.
use for
No,
the
but
radio.
the video I
But yeah,
saw
yeah.
is what you want me to do, and I will do that.
I go to the
But I
crowd. I say,
thought,
all right, you got to pick a number, any number,
hold on,
one
hold
through
on, hold on, hold on. Let me set it up a little bit,
461.
friend. Because the bit that I saw, which I thought was really cool, because it combines not only jokes and comedy, but your crowd interaction, crowd work, where you're
Yeah,
involving the crowd and stuff. I just think it's a great idea.
that's kind of like I don't do crowd work much, but it can involve the crowd.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
can
That's what I
pick
thought
at
was
them
so
and
cool
they can
about
pick
it.
at me. Like I'll
So
say,
what
like
I
I said,
think,
you see my balls, earlier. And one time a lady said no, and I'm like, joke's
hey,
on me now. It's a
don't
little.
don't keep grabbing your balls. That's not
Oh,
going to win anybody over.
I
Stop it.
forgot you see it.
Stop it. I'll pick a number. No, hold
Oh
on.
yeah.
No, no,
So
no.
yeah, you can pick a
Hang on,
number.
hang on, hang on, Mac. The jokes, I think, if I remember right, go from 1 to 236 or something.
This is at 460
Oh
in this
wow, it
book.
went up.
But
Well,
I'm missing page
I'm
one
gonna
right now. I couldn't
go,
find it.
I'm gonna go 258.
258.
See if you get
I hope you pick
258
a
up
good
there.
number because if it's a bad joke, it's your fault, not my fault.
I know it. Well, I was
So
gonna go 4. I was gonna go near the end to see something new.
you
I'll tell you what you can do is you can just flip through and pick one.
you got a good one, I think.
Okay.
Did you know that Hebrew people are really, really into martial arts? Like Ryan, my buddy Ryan, he's really into martial arts. These Hebrew people that are Hebrews, yeah, yeah. Their favorite martial arts to get into right now is called jujitsu. They throw little ninja star Davids for practice. Yeah, yeah. You thought I was going to say judo, didn't you? No, no. That's the dough that they make their bagels with. I told Ryan that, and he says, you know how I put the holes in the bagels with my nose, with my Jew nose, and he starts to pop them out. He's crazy as hell. Well, shout out to Ryan Weiss.
You're talking about Ryan B. Weiss, who was on the
Ryan B.
show.
Weiss.
But
He's fun.
I do a bit there, and now with you, I know I can get away with it. But I have lots of friends, Steve Goldberg, and lots of Jewish friends and stuff. And I always say, look, I have never done any kind of Nazi, any kind of Hitler, any kind of concentration camp, none of that. But I do love a good rape joke.
I can tell you one if you want.
Go ahead, sure.
All right, the great comedians, they say you gotta say personal material. You gotta talk about personal stuff to get your crowd,
Right.
involved. So this one's about have you ever had your temperature taken the old-fashioned way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I
You
think
know,
a thermometer up your butt.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
me and my brother, sister, and then all my cousins, we had our grandmother. Whenever we were staying with our grandmother, decided she'd tell us if she heard us cough or sneeze, she'd put her hand on our forehead and say, "Oh, I think you're running a little cold. We're gonna have to go take your temperature." And she'd take us upstairs. And then my first time, also my sister was running a little cold, so we both go up there. I'm like 5, and she takes out Tiny. My sister calls it Tiny. She's like, "Great, now we got to see Tiny." And it's like calling a fat guy Slimbo. So then we that happened. So and I say that my grandmother raped me with a thermometer, and my little brother Brian, who doesn't like me to say his name on stage or on video interviews, he also said, "Don't call it rape, James, because it's not it's not sexual." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if Grandma had an erection or not, but to me it was sexual, and I considered it rape." So then his first time, he was about 4. I was about 6. My grandmother was watching us in Grand Rapids, and she lived in Chicago. Where she was watching us while my mom and dad took my sister to her first communion thing, whatever it's called. And then so we were outside playing. It was in the winter, and we come back in. And she says, "Oh my gosh, Brian!" Puts her hand up on his head. "I think you're running a little cold." He's like, what the hell's that mean? He's still a virgin, you know. And then I was like, oh crap, this sucks for him, you know. So then she kind of, come here, James, you probably running a little cold too, you know. I'm like, oh no, why do I got to be involved in this? Takes us
Hmm.
upstairs into my mom's bedroom, pulls Tiny out of her purse. She's like, come here, Brian. He's like, what? Okay. And he's like, here. He opens his mouth. She's like, no, turn around, bend over on the bed and pull your pants down around your ankles. He's like, what for? She's like, just do it. He's like, does it? And then she just shoves old Tiny in there, you know, no jelly or anything like that. One time I was telling this on stage, and my buddy Chris, this gay guy, who plays guitar for our radio show, he said she didn't even spit on it. I'm like, that's even worse than dry, dude.
My God.
Why would I want my grandma to spit on a thermometer and shove it in my ass? And I was like, would you like my grandma to do that to you? He's like, I don't know. But either way, my brother's like, what the fuck, you know? Yeah, he's crying. He's like, help me, James, help me. And I'm like, dude, I can't help you. She's way bigger than me, you know? And she's like waiting her 90 seconds while this Tiny's in there checking the temperature. And he's like, help me, making eye contact. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, bud. Yeah, and then she takes it out. She's like, oh, you're good to go. You're okay. And she's like, all right, your turn, James. Come here and pull your pants down, bend over the thing. And you know the deal. I'm like, are you even going to wash that thing off, you know? And she's like, what for? And I'm like, what for? That's it. I snapped and I took off running. And I heard her coming after me. So upstairs, we have the laundry chute down to the basement laundry. So I jump in the laundry chute. We used to play in it. And I heard her coming down the stairs. So I up against the wall, and you know, inside the laundry chute and climbed back out. Took off down the hall, and then I ran in there. My brother's in the fetal position, crying, "Why?" And I see Tiny on the friggin' the dresser. So I snatch up Tiny, and I grabbed him, and I took off, and I said, "This ends now." And I ran out the front door, just in my pajama bottoms, barefoot, in the middle of the winter. I saw her profile, you know, in the doorway. Come back here with Tommy. It was Tiny. Tommy, come back here with that thing. And I kept running into the backyard, out into the woods. We had a nice sand pit out there and a nice forest. Ran out there and I dug a hole and then I buried him, dug it with my bare fingers in the frozen earth and the snow and buried Tiny. And that's where Tiny stayed until I was in a foster care home. My mom was a bipolar, manic, depressive, schizophrenic. So we got put in a foster home. And then she calls me and says, hey, grandma passed away, man. I just wanted to call you and let you know, at my foster home. And I was like, oh, man, that's messed up. Sorry to hear that. Yes, you know, like no more kids are getting raped with thermometers. Because this happened to all 14 of me and my little cousins and everybody. And I was like, that's terrible, Mom. I'll talk to you later. Click. And then I bought this 74 Impala, right? And I was 16. And I drove to my old house. And I went out behind their house where there was like new houses there too. But I found it and I dug Tiny up. And so let's go for a ride, Tiny. Took him back in my Impala, buckled him in. And we drove to Chicago to my grandmother's graveyard, right? And I walked right up to her tombstone when I found it. And I set Tiny right on top of her tombstone. I was like, rest in peace, Grandma. Look who's running a little cold now. Because she's dead.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
They say it's funny because it's true, right? You know, it's
Oh,
personal.
Mac, I don't think I've been doing these for I don't know how long, and I don't think I've ever had anybody go off on a tangent like that.
Oh, it's a bit, but it's true.
Oh no, no. The only part that lost me was Tiny. I thought you were talking about your Johnson there for a minute, but it turns out Tiny was the thermometer.
He told me to quit grabbing Tiny, so I stopped. Yeah,
Oh no, well, I thought you were going to do a rape joke.
yeah. The thermometer was the part that raped us. Well, my grandmother was thrusting it in her.
Oh my God, Mac, you are too much. I love you. I think you're fantastic.
Since you like dead baby jokes, I got a slew of baby stories that happen in the news that we tell on Stand Up for News that if you want, I could share one of them for you. There's
Good. And then we do that, and then we have to do your comedy minute because we don't have a lot of time left. Go ahead and do a dead baby thing.
I'll get you to choose. There's the USF dumpster baby, my favorite. There's the
Do
guy
that
that
one. Do that. Do the dumpster baby. That sounds great.
So a baby was found, newborn baby was found wrapped in a curtain, dumped in a dumpster on the USF campus. Sorry, the U of F campus. Doesn't really matter in
Yeah.
Tampa over the summer, and they finally found out that the mother dumped it there. You know, later on they reported that the baby died after she had birth to it, and she wrapped it in the curtain and everything. And that's really sad. But the part that I'm confused about is what's with wrapping the baby in a curtain? Isn't it a little late for a baby shower?
Good Lord.
The other one I
Good
like.
Lord.
This guy got arrested and charged for child abuse. He cracked his girlfriend's son over the head with a mop handle. Cracked the kid's head open with a mop handle because the kid was watching. Little African American kid was watching Paw Patrol, and the guy didn't want him watching Paw Patrol. So he beats the kid up puts him in the ER with a mop handle. So not only cracked that little kid's head open, he also got his chores done at least.
Oh,
You know,
Jesus
but
God.
wait for it. He really mopped the floor with that kid. Oh man.
Oh man.
The worst one though, the worst one.
All right.
The worst one is you hear about that lady in Georgia who had the doctor accidentally while giving the birth to the baby, severed the baby's head.
What?
That was in the news. That was big time in the news. And then decides to take the baby out C-section afterwards, but the head already came out vaginally. But they were supposed to emergency put this thing in the device to retract the baby by its shoulders, but she decided not to do that. And then her other option with the doctor was to open the baby, go C-section the entire deal, but didn't want to do that. Scared she's going to lose her patient. So afterwards, they said they weren't going to charge the doctor. She wasn't going to get written up or anything or fired until after the autopsy. So would you like to first see my impression of the autopsy, Scott? Oh, good.
Sure.
Huh. Yeah, she severed the baby's head. That's how I do that. But then here's the worst part to me. That's the worst part. That baby's never going to grow up to get to sing and learn our favorite song from childhood. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, you know what I mean? Poor baby.
Oh, Max. Man, I tell you what, I just enjoyed our time so much. You are so fun.
We
But we
have
don't have a
fun.
lot of time left, so why don't you tell anybody? I know I wrote it down here, but you got bouncing around. I think your biggest thing now, or one of the things, is the Sunshine City Comedy Club.
Yeah, yep. There
Okay.
and at Clearwater Comedy Club, Kenny Garcia owns those. He's a comedian from New York.
Okay.
He's a really funny dude. So he's given me the opportunity to bartend for him. I get to perform for him. I get paid to do both, and I get paid to sell tickets for the clubs. It's really
Cool.
awesome. Me and Ryan are teaming up. We're waiting for our other buddy to get back in town from Stand Up for News to get back on the radio. So other than that, we'll be doing some great Stand Up for News live events there, brought to you by Sunshine City or Clearwater, whichever club we're at.
Okay.
We're thinking about doing a game show. I think Ryan was telling you a little bit about it.
Right.
So I'm going to have him be, he always wanted to be a game show host or a comedian.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's
All
going to
right.
be
So
really
look,
fun.
why don't we make this pact? If you had a good time, which I'm hoping you did,
I sure
maybe
did,
we'll
yeah.
do you and Ryan together, or I'll have you guys on again as things move forward. Okay.
I asked him to come over today. I would love to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
all right.
because he
Well, look,
he
we're
was up
just getting to
writing all
meet.
night
I love
long.
you. I think you're wonderful. I love Ryan too. But you know what time it is, right?
Is that 1 minute time?
Listen, you don't have to be a minute. It can be 5 minutes. It's anything you want. I'll do a formal introduction. Macjamez, your comedy minute. Go ahead, my friend. No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess that guy won't be running on Dunkin'. Crawling on Dunkin', right?
Right.
In Dallas, Texas, there was an airplane mechanic working on a jet plane. As they turned it on, he got vacuumed inside that jet plane and killed instantly. That was in national news. Did you hear about that?
I saw a little bit about that.
Sucks to be him. That's me. All right, now I'm going to let you pick a number from the book. This is the end of my minute. Any number you want, Scott, go ahead. 1 through
32. 32. I want 32.
Oh, man. 32. All right. 32. I don't know if I can say this on your show.
You can say anything on my show. Go ahead.
All right. This one ain't so bad, actually. I know what it means. They're in code. They're in code. So this just says reverse racism. This says MILF, MILF, MILF. This says bang, gang, gang, bang. which a gangbang is a group I started for people that like to drink Bang energy drinks and Bang. So it's called the Gangbang Bang Gang. No,
Okay.
the Bang Gang Gangbang. Anyway, your joke is right next to the Rosie O'Donnell one, and it's pretty funny. Where'd it go? Oh yeah. This guy, he got arrested for killing his wife's parrot during a domestic dispute the other day. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. The parrot's final words, you know what those were?
No.
Oh, I want a divorce. Pick another number. Pick a number.
Oh, I don't know if we have time. Do 138.
138. But some of them are short. Some of them are,
That's
man.
okay. We don't have a lot of time left. Go ahead.
Oh man. You ever been to a wake before?
No.
A wake? Oh, they're super
Well, I
boring,
mean,
man.
yeah, I'd call different, but yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
I was at my grandmother's wake, and it was so boring, man. They should have called that thing asleep or not awake. Anyway, I am actually woke. I'm more woke than all my friends or my kids' friends' parents. You know,
Right.
I'm more woke than all of them. He told me too. Hey, it's because I have insomnia, first of all. But they say there's an app that can help me with my insomnia too. I just ruined that joke. Never mind. There's new technology that can help me with that, and it's called an app.
Okay. Well, let me finish up. I'll try to get you with one, and then we're going to stop the recording. Okay.
That sounds great.
What's worse than going down on your grandmother?
I don't know.
Banging your head on the lid of the casket when you're coming up.
All
Mac, I had a great time. Let me stop the recording so we can spend a minute off the air.
right.